The pandemic is steady in Mississippi as teachers are forced to be creative with their teaching methods in order to keep students engaged. The latest on that.
And flu season is just around the corner as people prepare for a combination of viruses to fight off this year. That story and more coming up.
Students are excited to be back on campus this semester, even if things are a little different, including those mask mandates.
Newswatch reporter Emma Harrington saw how it was affecting Ole Miss classrooms.
The school year is well underway here at the University of Mississippi, and its students are back in classes and in masks. But are these new additions affecting the classroom experience in a negative way? We talked to journalism professor Dr. R.J. Morgan to get his perspective.
The biggest problem that I have with it, because I talk pretty loud anyway, the biggest problem I have with it is that I keep wanting to drink my coffee and end up spilling it all over myself.
The most I could think about is sometimes when I'm answering a question or something, you can see I was kind of sliding right now. I'll just kind of do it natural, but I've gotten used to it to the point where it doesn't like bother me or distract me in any way. You know, there's plenty of distractions every day that you just have to deal with, so it's just kind of like another thing I ignore.
Masks are just part of the game.
Although the clarity of our speech may not be affected, the nuances of our facial expressions are lost behind a mask.
I think it prohibits students from sharing as much as they normally would, and it does make it a little harder to read facial expressions to check for understanding. Just like it's harder for me to read students, I think it's harder for students to read me. If they can't read all of my facial expressions, it does make it a little harder for them to follow.
I could see it being an issue. There's larger classrooms. Definitely not being able to see the mouth move when you're in the back of the room. I feel like that could be a trouble.
Books about every president that has been in the White House.
While there may be some disadvantages to wearing masks in a classroom, humans and students are naturally resilient and adaptive. Times have changed, but that has not stopped us from continuing to learn and connect through a classroom environment. Emma Harrington, Newswatch, Ole Miss.
And sticking with campus, Ole Miss currently has over 60 active confirmed COVID-19 cases, while experiencing almost 500 confirmed cases inside the town of Oxford since school resumed, according to the university dashboard yesterday. Wednesday, Lafayette County reported almost 200 active cases. The state reported over 700 active cases on Wednesday. Governor Tate Reeves has extended the statewide mask mandate through the end of September. Alongside this extension comes a loosening of restrictions for restaurants across the state. The 50% capacity standard that limits restaurants to half of its seating has now been increased to 75%. The limit for parties at a table has been increased from 6 to 10. In accordance with the statewide mask mandate, masks are still required to be worn entering all restaurants.
COVID-19 testing for symptomatic cases of the virus is not hard to come by. However, many may carry the virus without showing a single sign. In efforts to avoid the spread of COVID-19, the university developed a program to track and understand the virus's presence on campus. Each week, a random group of faculty, staff, and students will receive an invitation email from the Office of the Provost. They have the option to complete a survey to determine their eligibility for one of these tests. Those chosen for the free test will make an appointment online and report to the Ford Center parking lot for testing. The university will use the results from these tests to continue adjusting protocols and determining changes to minimize the virus's spread. And flu season is now upon us. This year especially, medical professionals urge everyone to get the flu shot. Fortunately for university students, faculty, and staff, Operation Immunization is providing vaccination opportunities right here on campus. The annual campaign, conducted by some pharmacy students, creates an accessible way for members of the Ole Miss community to get their flu shot. This year, the service will be offered as a drive-through. Those participating should bring their Ole Miss ID and prescription insurance card. The cost is $40, which can either be covered by insurance or charged to bursar accounts. You can visit the School of Pharmacy's website through olemiss.edu for more information.
Throughout these challenging times, artists from all over the world have been using their talents to uplift others. Newswatch reporter Kaylee Crafton tells us how artists here in Oxford have been doing the same.
If you look behind me, you'll see that there's a new design on this outbus shelter, and it's all a new way that local artists are giving back to the Oxford community.
Oxford recently launched Shelter Show 2020, a collaboration among city officials and local artists to bring some joy to Oxford residents. The show, coordinated by local artist Earl Dismuke and city official and fellow artist Kara Giles, features artist designs that are steadily being installed in Oxford University transit shelters throughout the town. These designs feature uplifting messages or illustrations. Frank Estrada, a printmaker and visual resource specialist at the university, was the second artist to be featured in the series.
I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, how they were going to put it up, and seeing it last week, it just blew my mind. So.
In addition to local artists, the show will also feature work from some Oxford Middle School and Della Davidson Elementary students. And as these murals continue to pop up around town, Kara Giles shares that it's fun to share these works with the Oxford community.
I think we're a very artistic community, and so from what I've heard, Oxford residents just love seeing more art anywhere they can see it. And so this is just kind of a fun surprise art show around town.
And to featured artist Sarah Frances Hardy, while these times are challenging, these cheerful displays bring some much needed joy to citizens.
Well, it feels good because there's so many negatives, and to be part of something that's a little happier and maybe could bring a smile to people's faces behind their mask. Yeah, it feels good to be a part of that.
In addition to this election, there will be a myriad of other local and state elections to vote in as well. The university wants you to vote in every election you are eligible to vote for. Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs Brent A. Marsh sent out an email linking students to a variety of resources for voting. These include a way to check voter status and sign-up information for voting deadlines. In addition to this, the email also advertised Debate Watch, a debate watch party sponsored by the Center for Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement. The first presidential debate is on September 29th.
A post on the Ole Miss parent Facebook page has been circling the internet over the past 2 weeks. April Brown, the stepmother of a student who passed away due to a drug overdose 2 weeks ago, is bringing attention to the presence of fentanyl-laced drugs in Oxford. According to the Oxford Police Department, the agency has responded to 11 narcotic overdoses this year, 2 of which were fatal. OPD implores the Oxford community to never take drugs, as taking an unknown substance can have life-altering results. Newswatch is following this story and will keep you updated as it develops. Next week, the results of last year's campus climate survey will be shared with the public. The results will reveal Ole Miss students, faculty, and staff's experiences with inclusion and support on campus. This is a part of the university's efforts to improve the campus climate and create an open, fair, and equitable environment. The presentation will take place virtually on September 22nd from noon to 1:30 p.m. Those who would like to attend should register online.
Yeah, well, Leah, I gotta say, it has been a pretty warm summer among everything that has happened. But it was nice to see some milder temperatures this week, huh?
Absolutely, Grayson. Stay tuned for what to expect heading into the weekend once we return.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hello, Oxford. Welcome back to Stormwatch. I'm Alexandra Watts with your weekend headlines. As we take a look at tonight's forecast, a high of 72 and mostly cloudy skies. Looking into tomorrow with a high of 71 and sunny skies throughout Saturday. And then taking a look into your weekend headlines, mostly cloudy tonight, still expecting some warmer temperatures throughout the weekend, getting down into the 70s, which is super nice. And then sun starting on Saturday.
Ole Miss defensive back Jaylen Jones is a walking comeback story. 2 years ago, he tore his ACL in the season opener against Texas Tech, and on Thursday, he was named the 2020 Chucky Mullins Courage Award winner. It's fitting that Jones wear number 38, as he has been living by Mullins' mantra here at Ole Miss.
I think it ties in with that quote, never quit. You know what I'm saying? I went through a lot. I had a lot of ups and downs since I've been here, but I never lost sight of the main goal and where I'm trying to go. I love this sport. I give it my all.
Jones has learned that the number 38 comes with a lot of responsibility. With the fifth-year veteran taking reps at 4 different positions on defense, looking for Jones and the defense throwing up the fins when Ole Miss welcomes Florida on the 26th. From the grass on over to the hardwood, the 2020 Ole Miss women's volleyball team is slated for 5 televised matches this season. The Rebels will set off the season hosting of the Aggies of Texas A&M on October 22nd and 23rd on ACC Network, which is scheduled to be one of the 5 air dates out of the 8-match campaign. On November 21st, the Lady Rebels will play their final home matchup against Missouri and will be available online through Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Ole Miss soccer matchups for the 2020 season will continue with the current state executive order of capacity limited to no more than 25% in the grandstand. In an effort to enforce social distancing, seats will not be offered to the general public, and face coverings will be required to those in attendance throughout the stadium. From the stands to the fields, the Rebels will host Texas A&M at 5 p.m. tomorrow to kick off their 8-game season. This matchup will be the first sporting events hosted on campus since the halting of spring sports due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Rebels are coming off a 10-73 season, which they won 6 out of 9 games at home. On the road, however, the squad had a tendency to be a bit more sluggish. For away games this season, look for leaders like senior Shannon Foster and junior keeper Ashley Orcus to step up. And finally, with week 1 of the NFL now wrapped up, a few former Rebels have been stirring up things in the league. Sports Watch reporter Justin Class has all of the red and blue information from the NFL.
Jason Price here with week 1 of NFL Rebels, and we get started with the big man himself, DK Metcalf with the Seattle Seahawks. Here Metcalf plants the foot for the slant and picks up 13 for the first. On to the third, Wilson drops back, and fun fact, DK Metcalf's first steps were a fade route. He takes it to the crib and tucks it in, putting the Hawks up by 9. Metcalf was a problem for Atlanta corners A.J. Terrell and Isaiah Oliver all day, racking up 4 grabs for 95 yards and 1 house call. To the Rebel tight end in Buffalo, Dawson Knox showed Ole Miss fans we didn't throw to him near enough as he catches the short screen, weaving and cutting for the red zone first down. And Titan receiver A.J. Brown needed no introduction, reminding everyone that he is one of the best route runners in the league. Brown relied on his shiftiness all night, keeping the corner guessing for about 10 yards, then planting the foot for the slant or comeback route. Pretty mediocre night for A.J. Brown with 5 catches for 39 yards, but look for Brown to get back in his groove when the Titans take on the Jacksonville Jaguars Sunday at noon.
Well, that's all I have for sports. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Newswatch Ole Miss for more of your favorite sports updates. We'll be back after the break.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
NBA player Pau Gasol and wife Catherine McDonald made a sincere tribute to fallen teammate Kobe Bryant on Sunday. They named their newborn baby after his daughter Gianna. Gasol won 2 championships with Bryant while playing together with Bryant as Lakers.
The little girl's full name is Elizabeth Gianna, and Gasol posted on Twitter saying that delivery went well and how much the name meant to him and his wife.
I gotta say, that is just so touching and so heartfelt. I mean, I think I speak for everybody when I say that I really do miss Kobe Bryant. I mean, he really made an impact on a lot of people on and off the court.
Absolutely. And what an incredible lifelong tribute to a fallen friend.
Absolutely. His legacy will carry on, and so will his daughters.
For sure.
All right, well, that's all we have for today, but make sure to tune in next Friday. I'm Grayson Wolf.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. You can catch us on Facebook, live stream, the Ole Miss Cable Network, or on hottytoddy.com. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend. I'm Leah Blevins, and we'll see you next time.